Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about the differences between a couple of technologies you've actually been making use of, what each and every one of them signifies. That is your web terminal, your command prompt, your Sandbox, your Ubuntu distro, your Intranet, and also your Git Bash. So let's just get right to it. Okay, we'll get started with our web terminal. First off, what is a web terminal? Ask yourself, what do you understand by a web terminal? Web and terminal, what does it mean? Does it ring any bell? A web terminal is a web-based application or service that provides a command line interface, CLI, within a web browser. And I'm pretty sure most of you can relate to this. Most of you that make use of web terminals, it allows you to access a remote computer or server using text commands, just like they would in a traditional terminal or shell environment. A web terminal typically includes a text input area where users can enter commands and a display area where the output of those commands is shown. It can support a wide range of command line tools and utilities, enabling users to perform tasks such as file management, running scripts or programs, executing system commands, and managing remote servers. So, to summarize all this big grammar that is here, a web terminal is simply your terminal on your browser, your command line interpreter on your browser. That is what a web terminal is. From the name web and terminal, you should know it has to deal with your web browser. So let's talk about our command prompt. I'm pretty sure most of you know what command prompt is. If you don't know, just head over to this your search and search for CMD. You see your command prompt here. A command prompt is known as a CMD exe or a command line interpreter. It is a command line interface. It's a command line interface program in Windows operating system, and it provides a text-based interface where users can enter commands to perform various tasks and interact with the underlying operating system. So your command prompt, there's actually not much difference between your command prompt and your web terminal. But what you should know is that your command prompt does not work with your web browser. Your command prompt interprets your commands to your operating system. For Windows now, the command prompt interprets every command that you enter to your Windows operating system. Command prompt allows users to execute a wide range of commands to perform tasks such as file and directory management, running programs, configuring system settings, troubleshooting, and more. It provides access to numerous built-in commands and utilities, including file manipulation commands. Examples are dir, you have your copy, your move, your networking commands, ping, your ipconfig command, and your system commands, tracklist and shutdown. Also some administrative commands. So basically, your command prompt, it communicates with your very own PC, with the operating system of your device. It communicates with the operating system of your device. It interprets whatever command, whatever code you enter to interpret it to your operating system, telling it, okay, so this is what my user wants me to do. Then I'll go ahead and do this. So that is that for command prompt. Then a sandbox. I'm sure most of you must have heard of the term sandbox, but you find it a bit hard to differentiate what a sandbox is and what a web terminal is. A sandbox is a controlled and isolated environment in which software applications, processes, if I'm sure you know what a process is, that is your local host, um a local server, or not. I'm sure you know what a process is, in which software applications, processes, or codes can run securely. That is what a sandbox does. It is a controlled and isolated environment where your code can run securely. It provides a confined space where programs can execute without affecting the underlying system or other applications. The purpose of a sandbox is to prevent potentially malicious or buggy code from causing harm to the host system and other software. So let's see how our web terminal is related to this our sandbox. The web terminal is executed within a sandboxed environment to ensure that any commands executed within the terminal are isolated and cannot directly affect the underlying system or compromise security. So, why your web terminal is always executed within a sandbox is so that any code, any change that is made does not affect your personal computer, your device, does not affect the files on your device, the does not affect your device entirely, because there are some scripts that are actually malwares and bugs that if they get to your device, your personal information is going to be at risk. So that is the point of a sandbox, is to isolate this kind of codes. People basically use a sandbox to actually debug codes. Any buggy code, you just run it in a sandbox in a contained environment, and then you try and debug your code. So the sandbox provides a controlled execution environment that restricts access to sensitive resources and limits the actions that can be performed. So let's talk about our Ubuntu. Ubuntu is a complete Linux-based operating system that provides a full desktop environment, system utilities, and a wide range of software applications. It is an operating system in its entirety, designed to be installed on a computer and serve as a primary OS. Ubuntu offers a user-friendly interface and extensive software repositories, making it suitable for general purpose computing, software development, servers, cloud infrastructure, and more. So basically, Ubuntu comes as a web terminal. Sorry, Ubuntu comes as a terminal emulator, and Ubuntu is also an operating system. It is a Linux-based operating system. It's a Linux-based operating system in the sense that Ubuntu is not just like your Ubuntu can be compared to your Windows operating system, your Windows OS, your Mac OS. That's what this particular paragraph is actually trying to tell us. This particular part is actually trying to tell us that Ubuntu is a complete Linux-based operating system. So, in case you're tired of your Windows OS, you can actually switch over to Ubuntu's. Although, like they said here, it's going to change up everything in your system, to change up your system utilities, all your software applications, and the rest. But it's actually nice to have a feel of how an Ubuntu operating system works. So you can go ahead and install it, and yeah. So the next thing we're going to be talking about is our Git Bash. Our Git Bash is not an operating system, but it is a command line interface. Now, we have been talking about command line interface all this while. What is a command line interface? A command line interface is an interface that only is is an interface that only accepts text. Is a text only interface. Let me put it that way. It's a text only interface. That is, there's nothing like pictures, nothing like a folder, like your graphics user interface, that you have a place that you can right click and double click and the rest. There's nothing like that in a command line. A command line is purely text, purely writing codes. Anything that you're doing, you copy and paste, it's in a whole different way. So let's continue what we were talking about, our Git Bash. They said it's not an operating system but a command line interface tool for Windows system. It provides a Unix-like environment and a command line interface, including a bash shell, a born again shell, which is a popular shell for Unix-based systems. Git Bash is primarily used as a Git client, allowing users to execute Git commands and manage version controls for software development projects. It also provides a set of common Unix utilities and tools, allowing Windows users to work with command line tools and scripts that are commonly used in Unix-based systems. So that is that for Git Bash. Then something that is very, very important, the intranet. I'm sure you have been hearing about the intranet, but many people just actually confuse it with, okay, maybe they are trying to say internet or something, but that is not it. An intranet is a private network that is actually restricted to a certain organization, a certain group of users. These users can be employees in a company, students in a school, students like you now, within an educational institution, or members of an organization. It is an internal network that facilitates communication, collaboration, and information sharing within the organization. The intranet is accessible only to authorized users within the organization. It is typically protected by authentication mechanisms like usernames and passwords to ensure that only approved individuals can get access to the network and its resources. Like you now, only an approved user can get access to your username and your password to be able to log in your intranet. That is what this is basically telling us. That is a private network that consists of a specific set of users, all under the same goal, all working towards the same goal. And this intranet is protected by authentications, that is usernames and passwords, so that not everybody, not any random person cannot just come and no random person can come and just say, okay, let me log into this intranet and see what it's about, without you being a specific user, without them granting you user privileges. You will not be able to access the intranet. So that is that for differences between all these technologies I talked about. Let me just do a brief summary of what we talked about. Your web terminal is a web-based interface. We said there is a web-based interface that allows users to access and interact with a command line environment through a web browser. That is basically what we said. Then the command prompt is a command line interpreter in Windows used for is a command line interpreter in Windows. It interprets your commands. Any text that you enter, it will interpret it to your operating system. Use it to execute commands and also to manage your system. Then your sandbox. A sandbox is a controlled and isolated environment, is what we concluded. Is an isolated environment where software application processes or code can run securely. So that is basically what a sandbox is. Then the next thing we talked about was our Ubuntu. We said our Ubuntu is a Linux-based operating system that provides a user-friendly interface and a wide range of software applications. So that is what our Ubuntu is. It provides a user-friendly interface and a wide range of software applications for our Ubuntu OS. That's what our Ubuntu OS is. Then the next thing we talked about was our Git Bash. We concluded that our Git Bash is a command line interface for Windows that provides a Unix-like environment and a bash shell. Then last but not least, our intranet. We said in conclusion that our intranet is a private network restricted to an organization or a specific group of users. So that is that for the differences, and I'm sure you gained a new knowledge today. I'm sure you learned something today. Please do well to like this video and hit the subscribe button. Thank you very much. Till next time.